Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Conscious Partners Network. We are Rockers Corner Radio, Stockade Promotions Radio, Kingdom Nubia Radio, Stone Vibes Radio, Into On Air Radio, Culture Vibes Radio, Roots Dynamic Radio, Afro Carib Radio, Reggae Wave Radio, Reggae Storm Radio. We are raising the awareness of artists across the globe.
Stockade Radio presents the Reggae Business Talk Show. Stockade Radio presents the Reggae Business Talk Show. The Reggae Business Talk Show is a show about knowledge, a show about information, a show where we arm you, the artist, with the tools needed to navigate your way through the music business. The business of music. Sit back and relax and listen. This is the Reggae Business Talk Show on Stockade Promotions Radio. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Stockade Promotions Radio, and or the Stockade staff. The information given on this radio program is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice.
The scientist rids the world of the intergalactic vampires killers. Genius scientist Rusty Steele is in his lab, busy sampling his newest invention, a hybrid plant grown on planet Mars he has dubbed Jolly Green Giant that makes everyone who partakes of it filled with love. A folder labeled Top Secret SOS races down a pipe, dropping on the table. For years, the intergalactic vampire has been injecting drugs into the hearts of innocent people. Standing in the way of this evil vampire is a single brave soul, the scientist. The scientist brings nothing more to the table than a love of mankind and a talent for reggae beats. But these tools are more deadly than they appear. Some may say that mere humans cannot possibly defeat intergalactic vampires, but with a little creativity and a lot of hard work, the dream that the scientist rids the world of evil just might come true. This adventure is explored in the Scientist Reggae album, a music collection containing a story like no other. In the Scientist album, listeners learn of such evil creatures as the intergalactic vampire witch, the intergalactic wolf and intergalactic Frankenstein. These terrifying creatures are awful intergalactic vampires. It is up to the scientist to use its musical powers to make the world safe once more.
Okay, greetings, I'm General Culture, back here on a Sunday, the 18th of October, and you're welcome to the Reggae Business Talk Show. As per usual, I introduce you to the panel.
First, there's Flava Holt, the chief of low-frequency shockwave.
So just bear with me while I make a connection with the entire team. Bear with me.
And Smiley have plenty to add with their stores of knowledge surrounding biological warfare that hit them with diseases. They are often joined by Bunny.
Okay, who do we have in the building?
Fitzroy Francis.
Alright, so we have Fitzroy, we have the scientist, we have Fitzroy, we have, let's see, Chris Hills. And we have Dobby Doo.
I'm here, General.
All right. As per usual, we're going to get everybody to introduce themselves. Also, today we have Roddy Campbell, who is absent from the show. This is due to him starting a brand new job, and he's got to work out his schedule. Once he's able to do that, he'll be back on this show, taking his rightful place. So I want to bless up Roddy Campbell, bless up yourself every single time. Also, I have to make mention of our Conscious Partners Network, Rockers Corner Radio. We are logged on to Rockers Corner Radio out of Detroit, and Stone Vibes Radio out of Texas. Okay, and this is Stockade Radio out of the UK. So welcome each and every one. I'm going to get Scientist to kick it off by introducing himself and telling us who he is, where he's worked, and so on and so forth. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello everybody, good day family to everybody. I'm the Scientist. I'm your musical warrior been educating everybody as to what they're supposed to be rightfully getting in the music business.
Thank you so much. Let's come to Fitzroy.
Yeah, Fitzroy Francis once again of Mindful 13 Records, you know, road manager, songwriter, poet, and panel reggae biz, which, you know, who commit himself to share whatever knowledge we have so others in the industry can learn from it and, you know, do what's in their best interest of their rights.
Okay. Thank you so much, Fitzroy. Lady General.
Yes, greetings everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Reggae Business Talk Show. I'm Lady General, along with General Culture, run Stockade, and I'm a paralegal by profession, and I've also been a real estate agent. I've also managed and built 2 sound systems, one in the US, one in the UK. I've also been a sound system DJ as well. So I've been involved in the music business all of my life. My brother is lots of DJ of the Cimarrons, and ever since I was a baby, he was involved in that band and grew up with the music. And happy to be here.
Thank you so much. The connection today is kind of acting funny, so we'll see how that pans out during the show. Let's come to Christopher Hills.
Greetings, everyone. Myself and Kofi own a small record label and management company called Coffee and Cream.
Thank you, Chris. W.
Yeah, W. Reggae and dub musician and mixer and engineer. Happy to be here again. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, each and everyone, for being part of the show. And I'm General Culture, the CEO of anything to do with Stockade. That is myself. Been in the industry coming close to about 21 years. And we're all, and not just myself, each and every one of us, we're all very passionate about what we do here, which is arming you, the artist, with the knowledge. Right. What are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about dub plates, right? Scientist.
Yes, I.
Talk to me. Why are we talking about dub plates?
Well, dub plate, it becoming a thing where it's been a commodity back then.
Hold on. Scientists, hold
We've
on.
been finding out that sometimes people do dub plate and then they keep releasing the songs afterwards when it's...
Scientists, hold on. Scientists, hold on, please. Lady General is reminding me that we have to do the recap, okay? So let's do the recap. Lady General, you're going to do the recap, right? Is Lady General there?
Only to say that, just to mention the topic matter from last week was the set list. So I believe Fitzroy will be doing the recap.
Okay, so let's come to Fitzroy.
Yeah, General.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, last week we emphasized on set list and the importance of submitting a set list where intellectual property owners and authors can, you know, get what is due to them. And you know, a set list is a list of songs submitted to whatever affiliates or tribunal you might associate with. So as an artist, musician, you should submit your set list to the promoter and also yourself to your affiliates and agent, whether the song is yours or not. So the owner, and I said the intellectual property right owner, can be compensated from their work which you as an individual earn from performing it. So therefore they will be gained from whatever compensation and get through your submission.
Right.
You know? So basically that's what we talked about last week.
Right.
Before. Now we're going to the interview.
Okay, so thank you so much for the recap, Fitzroy, and thank you, Lady General, for reminding me about the recap. let's talk about dub plates. Let me just mention to the panel, please, if you've got some background noise going on, I'm going to ask you to please just mute yourselves. Yeah.
General.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about the laws. You know, cause remember we were discussing that in our pre-meeting. So and then cause the laws gonna govern the also the dub plate. Because we want to emphasize a little bit about the laws and the rights of how things should be done and to be done. So scientists can take it from the top and then we can continue into the dub plate.
Okay, so you want to discuss laws first, so let's just do that then. So let's come to the scientists then.
Well, yeah, what I think need to get done, so we don't have to say repeat a family man just because he signed something. They need to fix the law where not because somebody signed something that they wasn't fully aware of. Like, for example, family man they was unfamiliar with the business, and a lot of these artists is unfamiliar with the business. The law should be set that they have to sign with counsel. There shouldn't be a thing where the art, especially when it comes to signing our intellectual property right, it should be mandated by law. Well, anytime you're going to sign away independent intellectual property right, where then you have to have counsel. So you have to have somebody who can tell you and advise you if you're signing away your rights. Like, for example, with family man and the Whalers, they use terms into it like work for hire. Family man and them didn't understand what work for hire mean. So when they're using these words in the contract, they need to define it that work for hire mean you'll never, ever get one other penny ever from this again. And do you agree that you're going to work for hire? And if the person is told that and is fully aware that this is your one and only money you're getting, then the contract should be able to stand. But if I'm talking to you now and I start say one part, what did I just tell you? You don't know. Yeah. I spoke to you in that tongue. You didn't know. And then most of these words are Latin words.
Right.
Like so the law, the court needs to start to look at contract if it was written in a deceptive way and not just because somebody signed it. I could understand if you're a seasoned artist, you're doing it over and over about your first song, and just because somebody, something written into a mumbo jumbo word that you don't understand. I don't think these contracts should stand up.
Yeah.
Well, and not to interrupt, but like with the dub plate thing, why I thought it was a good idea is because right now, a lot of people are complaining that people are doing dub plates who are not the artists. People are putting fake profile of the artists. They're asking for money. The people aren't smart enough to make sure they're actually or they're not doing their proper research. Make sure you're talking to actual artists. Make sure you have a contact to his manager. Something. Not just give him money and then wait for the dub plate. But then secondly, what the dub plate problem is people like with Tubby's now, they had all these dub plates that people paid to get cuts of, and then they regathered them and put them on an album. Now, you can't do that because you originally paid for one copy of a dub plate to take to your sound system. Now, if you take those and try to release them, that's illegal. You can't do that.
That's a tricky one.
It doesn't matter what form it come into. It must you must get authorization from the original people. But again, going back to the law, the way some of these laws they're written with too many loopholes. Too many loopholes, and then again, is the lawyers them at fault? Because if you examine, I don't know if anybody examined to tribunal, right? Yeah. It's a very serious part in law where the court are depending on both lawyers. So if I'm representing a case and I, the lawyer, find out that my client is wrong, I am supposed to dismiss the case. I'm supposed to take every measure to tell my client, hey, let's remedy it because this is not the right way. But what you find with the law, lawyers writing contracts around the law. Got the law say is your property. Only the time you lose rights of your property is when you sign it away. So the lawyer for the record company says, okay, so the lawyer say, as long as the person says, the law say, as long as the person signed for it, then you lose the right. Then what the lawyer do? He write a contract like that. Right? It's not because the record companies spend the money, it's not because they own it. It's not because the foolishness where these producers believe, well, it's my money I spend. No, it don't work like that with intellectual property right. And then that was defined and upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court. Case law that everybody else, every other court in U.S. must follow, a case named Creative Nonviolence versus Reed, where Creative Nonviolence pay a sculpture Reed $500,000 to create a sculpture. They thought they owned it. They went to one court said, yes, you paid for it, you owned it. And the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the ruling and says, work for hire has to be in writing. And the only time you can be recognized as an employee, that's in scope of employment. Scope of employment, it has to be, there's certain things have to be like federal taxes and all of that stuff has to get taken out of it in order for it to become work for hire. So you have these lawyers who's writing contracts in favor of the record company bodies to screw the artists when the lawyer have the obligation to uphold the law and to be fair. This is what Canada the Tribunal is, that if I'm representing a client and my client is in the wrong, I'm supposed to advise him. If that don't work and if everything fail, I have to tell the court. Right, you have to. Not because I represent them, I pay you $1 million. But what happened is the lawyer want to retain the money, and the lawyer want to represent the football star, like what we see happening here. That the lawyer already know he commit murder. Well, right. So the lawyer don't want to miss out on all of that money.
Well, you see, the thing is, my thing is, how many of these artists can afford a lawyer to even sit down and reason about this contract in the first place?
Well, that's one of the problems with the law. The equal rights and justice for those who have money. If you look at the statistics, how much time one set of people go to court versus the other set of people, how much time the court rule in favor of this person. What are you going to find? The people who can bring 20 lawyers in front of the court, 9 out of 10 times, that is who the court believe. So within the law, there's something wrong with that imbalance. There's a complete imbalance about it.
Right.
Is the lawyers them at fault? So he's an unscrupulous lawyer, know very well what he was doing, written trick words in his contract. I have family man and the wheeler sign with them right. And then you have a court, right, who didn't look into the fact to say, I wonder if these people was educated what this terminology mean.
Yep.
Because everything here is English, and right when you come down here, so we start using some different words, and right all of these part here, it look like trickery. The course them need to now start looking at this.
Yeah.
Did the person have a lawyer? Was this the first time the person signed a contract like this? Instead of, whoops, you sign it, but you lose your rights.
Yeah.
So the courts is at fault too. Because here's one of the biggest problems with the courts. They don't admit when they're at fault.
Interesting. Very true.
Right, they don't admit it, and you have this buddy thing that if one person say, yep, yeah, that's right, Barney, and then what they have, you have blind leading blind, everybody going over the cliff.
Let me come to Lady General. What did you want to say?
The judges have to follow the law, but this is what I wanted to ask scientists is, you know, the contract that Family Man them signed, I mean, if it was work for hire, what is wrong with work for hire? In other words, if I'm a musician and I go into a studio
they didn't understand what the term means.
Let me finish asking the question, and I say, okay, I'm gonna jam now, and they bring me the record, the producer brings me a contract that says I'm work for hire. What's the big deal?
Show it up and turn it into his face. Because the law, you see, this is what I just tell you.
What do I do? Because I'm
Yeah,
there.
no. Here's what the law said. Here's why work for hire company contract. The law saying in order for the record company to own your publisher and everything, you have to agree to work for hire. You don't have to agree to it. It's not a mandate that I'm paying you money now. Do you have to turn over your publishing or your intellectual property? There's no mandate that says so. It's only if you agree.
Now, scientists, I'm a musician and I'm in the studio to work and I want to make money. If they bring me this contract work for hire, that means I'm getting paid today. I got a family to feed.
Yeah, you can still get paid today.
How do I make money? What do I do?
What's possible? Well, I'm telling you. And I send you that document too. It says even if you get paid at the time of the session, it doesn't mean that you sign away your rights. You can still get paid for your session, right? But your publishing, the publishing on it is what you don't have to sign away. Chris, are you on me with this?
I'm fully with you on this, but first of all with Lady G, it's all very well saying sign this work for hire, but what they need to do is say, well, look, if you do this, you're giving away your pension, whereas you could have been earning money for the next 70 years on that recording.
It needs to be defined. It needs to be properly defined. Not just one word that says work for hire. I understand if it's somebody who do it over and over and no. But when these things done without counsel, and you can bring the brightest judge in a, I will tie him up in his words. I put logical things in front of him that go outweigh any argument that I'm going to bring. Right? If it's a seasoned person who knows about it, yes, I could understand. Somebody who doesn't understand and is sending away a pension, and if I make $10 trillion, you only make $100. How much people is going to sign a contract like that?
Right. So
this is why I say this is and then it's not something that you have to. You don't have to sign it away. There's no mandate because the producer paying you or the record company paying you. You have to sign it. What they'll do, okay, we'll go look for an next fool if you don't want to sign it.
So you're saying that even if the artist goes into the studio uninformed, if there were contracts that were written in plain English, it would prevent them from being ripped off of their
oh well, yes. When it starts saying in perpetual, it should say mean forever. You'll never ever get an next penny. Clearly define the word. Work for hire, meaning you'll need, this is your money, and if I make $1 trillion, you'll never get an next penny after I pay you this money. Clearly define these words. These lawyers write these words, hoping that you don't know. Other producers hand me these contracts, hoping that I don't know what that word is either, and who written that? A lawyer.
Yeah.
Now, when you take a contract like that and you carry to your lawyer that have sense, you're going to say, no. You have to sign away your publishing.
Now, we have a comment from 5558. He's saying, please cite that case again, because he wants to read it. What case was it that you mentioned?
Creative nonviolence versus Reed.
Okay. U.S.
Supreme Creative Nonviolence versus Reed. Creative Nonviolence in Washington, D.C. paid sculpture Reed $500,000 to develop a sculpture. Yeah. They thought they owned it.
Right.
One court sided with Creative Nonviolence, and the U.S. Supreme Court overturned it and said a case law that says work for hire has to be in writing.
Yeah.
This is what the Berne Convention says. Work for hire has to be in writing. There's no waiver of our implied waiver of rights. And again, these laws been in existence since 18-something. Isn't that I write it? Yeah. So I know a bunch of producers believe that they own things because they pay for the session. It don't work like that with intellectual property. You need a waiver. You need a signature.
I'm going to
scientists. Sorry. Just to clarify that, again, intellectual property is the copyright holders, the people that create the original song. They have to grant license for any sound recording of that song, which would be
any copy. That's who can grant permission,
right?
Not the producer.
Exactly. It's the rights around the sound recording where you sign away your publishing, not the intellectual rights. Yeah.
Well, either way, these contracts need to clearly define and stop. Anytime the court find that these lawyers use word, everything is in English, and here comes one German word, then overturn the contract because the person didn't have in the counsel, the person didn't know what this word meaning, and so forth, and make the law that anytime anybody going to sign away intellectual property, you have to have a lawyer. Just like, hey, if you go in court with a corporation against a corporation, you know what the judge say? Go get a lawyer. You can't do it.
Scientist.
Yeah.
Panel, I want to read out something with copyright law so we can make our listeners and guests them aware of what you are saying within the law. According to the United States Copyright Office, the Library of Congress, work for hire. Copyright law protected a work from the time it is created in a fixed form. From the moment it is set in print or electronic manuscript, a sound recording, or other such concrete medium, the copyright becomes the property of the author who created. Only the author or those who deriving the rights from the author can rightfully claim copyright. There is.
Deriving. You hear that word? Who deriving?
Yeah.
Who's, in other words, the person who's asking for it.
Deriving rights from the author can rightfully claim rights. Section second paragraph. There is, however, an exception to this: work made for hire. If a work is made for hire, an employer is considered the author, even if an employee actually create the work. The employer can be a firm, an organization, or an individual. And to conclude,
only if they're taking taxes and social security so forth that constitute work for hire, we call it employee worker relationship. If that's not happening, then it's not work for hire.
Conclude the reading and they can define it. And then the final part of the concept of work made for hire can be complicated. This circular refers to its definition in copyright law and draw on the Supreme Court's interpretation of it in Community for Creative Nonviolent v. Reed decide in 1989.
Right. And it's final and it's sealed. You could have paid somebody $1 trillion at the time of the session. Right? It's not the producer's property. And that case, every lawyer have to follow that case. This is why I'm laughing after Greensleeves them. Because you see, here's what. Based on candor towards the tribunal, that lawyer have the obligation to fix the error. Because he caused. you see, right? So, work for hire, everybody. Don't care how much money you get paid in the studio. It's never the property of the studio. The lawyer know that, so the lawyer who work for the record company say, hey, sign it away. Here, they put some money in. You don't have to say yes. It's a contract they're giving you. It's not a gun they're putting to you. You can disagree or agree to whatever you want in the contract. Now, if somebody give you $1 trillion and don't want copyright, then, hey, must be, but somebody give you $100, and then they must own your intellectual property right forever in perpetual. That should be illegal.
Right. Let me come to Lady General because she wants to read out some questions from some of our listeners who are logged in right now. Lady G.
Well, just to say that I've posted the Creative Nonviolence versus Read on our Facebook page. If everyone wants to check that out, it's the Reggae Business Talk Show on Facebook. Also, I believe that scientists just cleared up the comment that Monarchio Entertainment made stating that you can agree to work for hire, that is up to you. A contract is an agreement with two or more. Scientists just cleared that up. And the next question comes from Musical Ambassador. Welcome to the chat room. He says, can we please talk about producers claiming company authorship for works of artists that are no longer alive?
They cannot do it because the first thing is you can't have a contract with a dead person. So whenever that person died, the contract up, you have to go find out who's the family. You have to settle the estate in legal terms.
Now,
right?
Scientists, hold on. Scientists, what I need to ask you every time you say that, I want you to tell me if that is written in stone. I know theoretically that sounds right and could be right and should be right. Yeah, but is that written in stone?
Of course, because in other words, me and you have an agreement that every month you're supposed to give me $1. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have an agreement to somebody, every month you're supposed to give them $1. The person deceased. You now break the agreement. How is the person going to enforce it?
And
you see?
Yeah.
The person now can go take your music and put it into a gay movie when part of your contract say, hey, I don't want my music in A, B, and C, and D. Then he gonna take your music, put in something that you disagree. How are you gonna enforce it? Mm. You're not here to enforce it, so you can't have a contract with a dead person.
Right.
Right. So when I see all that blood, I thought, oh well, Bertram Brown. Well, okay, fine. Bertram Brown, the producer, he doesn't own copyright, and then again, how the producer supposed to own copyright when the producer pay is what 3%, and then nothing in this copyright law doesn't say anything about producers, right? He's talking about the people who create the work.
Yeah.
Right, producers play a very important role. I'm not taking anything, but you see, like that clown there, David Satai, who, oh, but in Jamaica, the producer are king. Well, that's. That's not law. That is not law.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. If you look into copyright laws, they say you have to be careful because sometimes a producer is a writer. You know, there's those instances when a producer has written lyrics, but you have to know what the situation in the session was. Of
course. Then he'll go down as a writer.
Yep. But like I said, most producers, if they don't have nothing to do with the actual recording, even if they paid for it, 3% is what they own. I mean, they can try to work for more, or I mean, do a contract for more, but most of the time, that's what you're entitled for, 3% as a producer.
Yeah, you don't own it, and then you can start a sign, right? So you can do all the kind of thing without the artist by using their creation. The copyright law said that you need permission from the person who created to do this. It's not eyesight. I'm just telling you what these people say. Right? So no producer doesn't have because some artists have, unless the artist give him that right in a contract. Right? So every time it get copied, it get reproduced, the people who create it, you need a license from them. Right now, the thing that going on with dub plate and all of this stuff here, you see, here's what Jamaica music business been unlawful. Because here's what: every time somebody do over a Studio One record, they were supposed to pay a licensing fee. That never happened. Every time they do over somebody's song, they were supposed to pay a licensing fee.
Yeah.
If there was always paying licensing fee, guess what? You'd have more originals and not so much cover songs because they don't want to pay a licensing fee. Yeah. Every time they need to do it. So I hope David Satai, who and especially the Green Sea VP clients, lawyers, and people, I hope you're listening because hey, go read it for yourself. It's not I say it.
Yeah,
and so they need to fix the law, and the lawyers them need to stop assisting them clients in fraud.
Let me come to Dobidu. Anything you want to say in that respect?
Well, I think that's a big thing. What we've been talking about right now is the publishing. A lot of people don't know about the publishing side of the music. A lot of people think that, well, I wrote the music and that's all I'm entitled to. But if it, unless you've signed away your copyrights with the publisher, you own your publishing. You're entitled to that 50%, 50 publishing, 50 writing.
let me show you what's going on now. They're trying to get around me. Doozer, what's the name of that album again that I just asked you to research?
Oh, Prince Jammy destroys the Space Invaders.
Destroy the Space Invader. It's all my tracks.
It is. Like I said, I dare anybody to go look at the originals. I didn't have time to look at album, but in the originals I looked at, it's all scientist mixed. The original dub plates that came from him.
My mixes, and guess what? Green Sleeve Records don't do it. And you see them put themselves worse because based on that law there, they maliciously violate my moral rights.
Yep. You know, I mean, it's pretty sad because a lot of people think that's actually mixed by Jammies.
I'm saying he produced it. When Jammies, those effects and those things that go on that record, not even King Tubby's know to do it.
I was going to say that. Listen, there's some effects in there that neither of them have ever done Jammies or Tubbies. And the fact is, they try to make you think it's Jammies by saying Prince Jammies and King Tubbies destroy the Space Invaders. It's not him.
That's a lie. It's my mixes. It's my mixes. So them think if them put this criminal name on my things, them Jammies, what? I'm going to free them. I know they must have some people here listening, you know. But guess what? I have the original work, and I'm going to take it and put it out back.
Well, let me just mention this, because you mentioned something very, very critical in terms of the dub plates, right? Is that when somebody takes somebody else's rhythm to create a dub plate, which is going to help to maybe advertise the artist, right? He's going to get a license for that.
Things like that, technically yes, but things like that for promotional purposes, one time, no real producer, because I see how it helps to break artists. Let's allow it.
Yeah, but that's the thing with the dub plate is it's okay when you're selling off, you know, it's okay when you're taking one copy to or giving one copy to a sound system, but now when that sound system makes that copy available more than just the copy that they buy.
That's illegal.
Exactly.
That's illegal. Tubby's estate can't say take it off wherever I have it, because where's the paperwork that say you can use my pseudonym to sell anything? I know like a lot of artists probably not familiar with this name, pseudonym, but you all should research what it means.
Yep, and like with Tubbies too, there's at least, like, I want to say maybe 5 records even of where it's just tub plates, King Tubby's dub plate specials and dub plate specials, but that's not legal because those were originally cut off to one sound system and they're not supposed to have them out there like that.
Right.
I'm not supposed to have them out there, but you see the whole Jamaica recording thing, it's been just lawless.
It's like
lawless, fraud, deception. It's starting from all of them. Right, starting from Treasure coming right down to Studio One. It's them first started by not putting artist name and the musician name on the record so them can keep them publishing money.
Right.
Right, and then it come down to Lucifer grandson, Princess Slimeball, Jammies.
No, none of that, please.
Well, you know, look here. I'm trying to do what Fitzroy asked me. You know, just low it.
Yes, that's what I'm asking you to do, please. So
but every time I turn around, it just more and more fraud with all of them people here. Look here, General. You just don't know. He's a little dirty bunch of folks.
No. Keep it. That's all right. Let's continue with the conversation, please. Anybody wants to add anything to what has been said so far before we move on to the next step?
Only that regarding the topic of people's rights after they die, we're going to be doing a whole show on that soon.
Okay. Did we lose everyone? All right. We're going to see if we can get everybody back.
I'm having internet problems.
There's some sort of connection problems. Let's see if we can get everybody back. Let's see.
I'm here.
General, I have to leave now, doing that.
All right, then. All right. So we've lost Scientist and W. Have we got Lady General?
I'm still
here.
Okay, we have Fitzroy. We have Chris. And we got Chris. No, we haven't got Chris.
I'm still here, General.
We got W. No,
but can I say something about the dub plates? Because we were going originally on the fraud.
I don't know what's going on, ladies and gents. Please bear with me. There is some sort of internet problems. Do we have everyone here? All right, let me shut this down and start again. Right, once again, this is the Reggae Business Talk Show. Let me just play some music pending the time I can get everybody back. I'm not too sure what's going on with Skype right now. Bear with me.
The scientist rids the world of the intergalactic vampires killers. Genius scientist Rusty Steele is in his lab, busy sampling his newest invention, a hybrid plant grown on planet Mars he has dubbed Jolly Green Giant that makes everyone who partakes of it filled with love. A folder labeled Top Secret SOS races down a pipe, dropping on the table. For years, the intergalactic vampire has been injecting drugs into the hearts of innocent people. Standing in the way of this evil vampire is a single brave soul, the scientist. The scientist brings nothing more to the table than a love of mankind and a talent for reggae beats. But these tools are more deadly than they appear. Some may say that mere humans cannot possibly defeat intergalactic vampires.
Okay, who do we have in the building so far?
Medea.
All right, so we have Fitzroy. We don't have Lady General. We don't have Scientist. Scientist has to leave. Dubby-Doo.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. We've lost Christopher Hills, and we're still trying to make a connection with our guest who's supposed to be part of the show today. Not too sure what's going on with Skype. Something really fun is going on, so please bear with us. I'm going to end the call and see how we can get everybody connected, because we have lost quite a great deal of people on this show, so please bear with me. I'm just going to play the music. I'm going to hang out with you two guys, and then I'll call you back.
All right.
Okay, let's continue with the music.
Unique power. First there's Flabba Holt, the chief of low-frequency shockwave. His hard-hitting bass guitar serves as an effective weapon against evil. Michigan and Smiley have plenty to add with their stores of knowledge surrounding biological warfare that hit them as diseases. They are often joined by Bunny Whaler, the expert on psychological warfare. The scientist also frequently teams up with Kyle Scott, a top-notch intergalactic vampire killer. Josie Whale serves as the radar jammer, taking his DJ skills to the next level. Super Cat, also known as Wild Apache, consistently displays great talent when working with cruise missiles. His buddy RAS Michael is also happy to lend a hand as the chief justice. The scientist's team is rounded out by Earl Chinook Smith and the Meditations, a group of musicians who work hard to keep the musical military protected, meanwhile reaching out as diplomats. With such a talented and versatile team, there's no limit on what the scientist will accomplish. The battle against the intergalactic...
Okay, who do we have in the building so far? Skype is acting up.
Lady General.
Amen. We have Lady G. Who else have we
Fitzroy
got?
Francis.
Thank you so much. Dubby-Doo.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. We've lost Christopher Hills, and we can't get him back. We're still trying to make a connection with our guest, and our guest today is P. Stephenson, and for some reason we're unable to connect with her at the moment, so please bear with us pending that time. Scientists.
Yes, I.
All right. So we have you back. We've lost Chris Hills, and so let's just continue so far. So you were saying just before we got cut off.
Who, me?
Oh, hold on. Lady G, continue.
Okay, so I was saying that we will be doing a full show regarding what happens to an artist's right after they pass away, you know, to address musical ambassadors' questions. And he also had another question, which we've dealt with in previous shows, but he's asking scientists, do producers or can producers add their name to works for the music and not the words? Can the panel tell me if a producer can add his name to the song for the musical part of the song as separate from the lyrics, parentheses, words? That's the question.
Only if they have something to do with Only if they have something to do with the musical composition, like when you see produce written rain by the hymns from the Lords. That's a damn lie. And a bunch of producers in the cities they've been putting down their name as writers and arrangers and all this nonsense. That's fraud. That's deception. You cannot do it. If it's a producer, a composition, like he written a horn line, drum line, something, he can add himself as a writer, but not to take credit that the written and arranged and produce the whole thing.
Right. So anybody have anything more to say on this topic before I introduce our guest to the show? Anybody? So we can proceed. Right. I want to bring on our next guest, and we're still trying to make a connection with her at the moment. For some reason, Skype is really acting up. She goes by the name of P. Stephenson, and she's a promoter here in the UK. Please bear with me while we try to connect with her. I'm going to try one more time, see what happens. Bear with me. Let's see if we can get P on the line. So once again, P. Stephenson will be our guest. Let me just play this music one more time. Bear with me, guys.
Hey, General.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm at a wedding, you know.
All right.
At a wedding as a giveaway.
Yes.
So yeah, I might have to go. I'm giving away my ex-girlfriend.
Okay. No problem.
Oh boy.
You take care.
Is that a topic for another show?
God bless scientists.
Yeah.
Right.
Righty then.
We seem to be having some problems with our guest P. She's unable to accept the call due to some sort of technicality. I'm not too sure what's going on with Skype today. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play this track one more time, and I'm gonna hang up with everyone, okay? And then I'm gonna re-add everybody onto the show. Okay, do apologize, but this is beyond our control. It's something to do with Skype and nothing to do with Stockade Radio. So bear with me while I try to get everybody back again. All right, here we go. The devil is busy.
For years, the intergalactic vampire has been injecting drugs into the hearts of innocent people. Standing in the way of this evil vampire is a single brave soul, the scientist. The scientist brings nothing more to the table than a love of mankind and a talent for reggae beats. But these tools are more deadly than they appear. Some may say that mere humans cannot possibly defeat intergalactic vampires, but with a little creativity and a lot of hard work, the dream that the scientist rids the world of evil just might come true. This adventure is explored in the Scientist Reggae album.
P.
Yeah.
Greetings. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Now, we like you said, you know, there is some Skype issues going on at the moment. So what I'm going to have to do is add everybody individually, okay? So just bear with me, please. Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
All right. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, P. Stephenson is our guest today. As per usual, I'm going to have to add everybody one. So just bear with me while I try to get everybody back on the group. Once again, take a listen to the music in the background.
Crewmates, each with their own unique power. First there's Flabba Holt, the chief of low-frequency shockwave. His hard-hitting bass guitar serves as an effective weapon against evil. Michigan and Smiley have plenty to add with their stores of knowledge surrounding biological warfare that hit them with diseases. They are often joined by Bunny Whaler, the expert on psychological warfare. The scientist also frequently teams up with Kyle Scott, a top-notch intergalactic vampire killer. Josie Whale serves as the rape.
Okay, I think I've got everybody back, barring Chris Hills, and Chris is the person who is responsible for telling us about P. Stephenson and inviting her onto the show today. He's also having problems with his Skype. He's unable to contribute to the show right now. But I want to introduce P. Stephenson. P, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm very blessed. Thank you very much.
Good.
And it's a pleasure for you to invite me to the show with you. Thank you.
You're most welcome. I want to add introduce you to our panel. That's Lady General. We have Lady General. Lady G, introduce yourself to P, please.
Hi, P. Very nice to meet you. I'm Lady General from Stockade Radio.
Thank you, and great to meet you too. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
We also have W from the USA. W, introduce yourself, please.
What's up, P?
Hi,
I'm a
bless.
reggae dub mixer and engineer musician. So bless up. Thanks for being on the show too.
Thank you, and thank you for participating as well with us.
And we have Fitzroy Francis. Introduce yourself, Fitzroy.
Yes, blessed love P.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure having you on the Stockade, the reggae show, the music, the reggae biz. And you know, I'm Fitzroy Francis, I'm Mindful 13, and it's a pleasure, as I say, to have you today as our special guest.
Thank you. Thank you very much for making me feel so welcome, all of you.
We also would have had Roddy Campbell, who's not with us. So bless up Roddy Campbell, wherever you are. Bless up yourself. And I have to also, we've just lost the scientist, as he's got a very important function to go to. So he'll be unable to contribute to the session right now. I want to come to yourself, P. And once again, I must add that I've got Christopher Heels to thank for this, because he's the person who approached us and said, you know, he thinks it'll be a good idea for Pete to come on the show. And once he told us what you have been doing and had been doing, and some of the things that you wanted to contribute, you know, we thought that would be awesome. Also, you've been in the Gleaner. Is it the Gleaner or Observer?
No, the Jamaica Observer.
Observer, right. Tell us who you are and how you got into the industry first and foremost.
Long story. But in essence, right, I've always been a lover of music. Okay. My father is very much not in music as such, as a producer or a DJ or anything like that, but he loved music, and it's a family thing. However, he grew up in Jamaica with people like the late Cotton Dodd, people like that. Was friends with Jetstar, the Palmers, you know, those sort of people.
Yeah.
So it didn't lead me that way. How I actually really got into reggae music, the way I have done now, was by virtue of the fact that at one stage, I myself was going to be a singer, and I took a back seat and decided that no, this is not what I want. This is not my career path. I don't want to do this, and turned down a potential signing with EMI at the time.
Right.
Yeah. However, you know, life takes you in different directions. Always loved my music. Known lots of people. Got musical people in my family. Some quite famous people, but I don't ever call their names because I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
I'm going to say it like that. Okay. Never that never influenced me. What actually influenced me was my love of music, and the fact that I was watching it dwindle, reggae music dwindle in this country, and what could I do? Because I like to be a change agent.
Right.
Yeah. So what could I do to keep it alive and contribute to the legacy that we have in reggae music? And so I decided that, you know what, I'll go, and I had a friend who had a nightclub, and I decided that having had a conversation and hearing that he was struggling, that I would go into the nightclub and promote it. That's where it started.
Right.
I did that successfully, I'm thankful to say. However, after I left, unfortunately, the club closed down.
Yeah.
Okay. But whilst I was doing that, I was working with local artists in the UK. And it was then that my eyes really opened to the struggles that were going on, the difficulties that, particularly in the UK, that artists were having in trying to break through the glass ceiling. Round
about what year was that?
I've been doing this. I've been doing it, I believe it's longer than 3 years, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it goes back way back a bit longer than that.
Okay.
So it's maybe 6, 7 years, probably even longer, but I just don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been such a long journey that I've forgotten now. And I was promoting quite a few artists. So I've worked with people like Redman UK, Gappy Ranks, those kind of artists in the UK, and a few others. And then I started to broaden my horizons in terms of promoting artists, because there was a weakness in how these artists were being promoted, in terms of their music and in terms of getting them visible and getting them out there. Okay.
Yeah.
And I started working with a number of promoters and recognized that, hang on a minute, our UK artists aren't even getting a look in unless they are lovers rock artists very well established in this country, right?
Yeah.
But that we seem to do the international market. And can I say this? We can't forget where reggae music is rooted in. It's rooted in the people, poor people who were sufferers, because the majority of the artists that we know internationally have not come from rich backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was the poor people's cry. That's how I see reggae music, right? Which has permeated the whole of the world. Yeah, anything to do with reggae music is out there. It's all over the world. It's a language that everybody understands. Yeah, and it's in terms of the beat, not the words, but the beat. But it was also a music that told a story.
Right.
And I think that's awesome when you can have music that tells a story, that the lyrics tell you a story, right? And I've continued to promote, and I've worked with Sanchez. I've worked with, I did a lot of promotion for Sanchez. I've done a lot of promoters for other artists. I've done promotions for Freddie McGregor. I've worked with Don Marie. I can name them, yeah?
Yeah.
But I've always kept it as a hobby more than a profession. I'm going to be honest with you. But it's been leading me through certain doors where it's almost as if it's my vocation.
Yeah.
This is where you need to be. And so that's how I got in. I kind of got into everything.
Right. Well, when you mentioned that the reggae music industry was kind of dwindling in the UK, name me some of the things that led to that from your own perspective.
Well, from my perspective, when people like Bunny Lee, right, who, and I can remember this so clearly, Bunny Lee was, as you know, one of the biggest producers in this country, especially when it came to international artists. Yeah. He had everybody from Dennis Brown, Bob Marley, you name it, he had them. All right. There was another DJ, not radio DJ, sound system DJ, which was Lord Coos, now passed. Yeah. He was very instrumental in this country, along with people like Palmer, right, from Jetstar. And then you had your radio DJs like David Rodican, Tony Williams, Steve Bernard, who got music playing on the radio stations over here, right? They were very instrumental. And somehow, when they went, when Striker Lee's studio went, it's like there was a massive shift in terms of what reggae music was doing in this country. So the main players were no longer here. The main players were no longer involved in how reggae music was being promoted. And so we were left with a little bit of a lull, I think. Yeah. And then you had, you know, people like Maxi Priest, etc., sprung up, right, and got into the mainstream. But still, reggae music was starting to be sidelined. It wasn't that important anymore. Yeah. And I see even more so with the fact that we have less and less venues that are allowed to play reggae music now. And I mean, they are dwindling. you can hardly get a venue to book these days to do a decent show or play decent reggae music.
What would you say are the factors that affected that happening?
It's twofold. For the first thing, a lot of the massive reggae shows that used to go on in this country, and this is I don't know if this is appropriate for radio still, right? But can I put it this way? The people that had the money are no longer around. So essentially what I am saying is there was a black market for that. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the only way I think that's the best way to put it. Right? And those people aren't around anymore to invest that kind of money into those kinds of things.
Right. Do you think there was an attitude from the artists themselves which affected that happening, besides the fact that maybe some of them may have passed on or whatever was the case? Do you feel there was an action that maybe influenced those investors from moving away from maybe specific artists or venues or whatever?
Realistically speaking, I will say this. Not every single international artist is a problem. I'll say it that way, But there are certainly some that have unrealistic fees, unrealistic expectations.
Okay.
And when they have the mindset, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, right, you might have a track that's playing big in America or big in Jamaica or big in some other country. But you see the UK, it's very unique, because it doesn't necessarily mean you've got a big tune. That when you come here, you're going to get bookings or you're going to get loads of people coming out to buy tickets to come and see you. That over here, it's not like that. It hasn't got the same kind of following, right? And it has become such that the artist, and Freddie said it in a nutshell, if you're not a Freddie McGregor, a Gregory Isaacs, a Marcia Griffiths, with a catalogue of very established music, it's highly unlikely that you're going to come here and get a successful show. In terms of the promoters, because of that black market that I spoke about, you are now talking about a syndicate of people sometimes. That's what's happening. There is a syndicate of people who invest in a show, and they will only invest in the show if they are sure that the money that they put out, they will get it back.
Right.
So they're not going to book an artist, right, just for the sake of booking the artist.
Wow. I want to come to the panel. Let's come to Lady General. If you have any questions for P.
Not really, just a comment, which is like kind of what P is describing reminds me. It kind of links with payola in my mind. You know, this favoring of certain acts, which it's not supposed to be that way. And I know that you and I, General, have had this conversation as well about the death that reggae seems to be dying in Britain, and P explained she filled in a lot of gaps for me, you know, in some of the things that she brought to the fore, you know, such as you know, the major players and all of that stuff. And also at the same time, you know, we did have a shift in between that of the sound system toasting was huge, and then that kind of started to die out, and then things kind of got wacky after that. You know, you had all these new styles and this gun culture and this degrading women and other people culture, and I think it just kind of went all downhill then. And I guess it's not just one thing that we can point to that helped to demoralize reggae, if I can put it that way, you know. It was more than one thing happening at that time.
Let me come to Fitzroy.
Yeah, General, well, she's making a lot of important point, which we have known the transition of the music, that it's occurring in the mid-80s, since the slang thing. You know, it more become prevalent in recording because it exists, but it wasn't like even recorded unless you're going on a sound system with your tape and you record with a man at a toast that night and you go home and go play it. But actually, you know, it become in the studio now as part of the recording sessions, and then it can go up on vinyls, and you know, from that the whole industry kind of got through a downfall, which I don't really think it really like define what reggae is then or now, because we still have good music making. That's why we have to still give thanks to internet radio, which really bring the light of a lot of good artists who wasn't getting ear played, you know, an artist who is getting ear played because of Payola and what P saying. So it's a very valid point, and I think, you know, it's a very good subject to raise that. So the listeners can hear what's going on.
I remember back in the 70s and 80s, and back then, you know, I keep saying the UK was known as the capital, you know, for reggae music. It was flourishing, you know. I also remember, maybe leading up to the late 80s, leading into the 90s, I also remember if you were a producer and you didn't have something like Jamaica, made in Jamaica, written on that record label, your music wouldn't sell. Why that was happening, I really do not know what the mindset was. But we came from a very good place. And for that to happen, it really showed to me lack of respect for the artists who were in the UK doing some real good music. Psychologically, they had to see a made in Jamaica for a UK production to be played on the radio. It was really crazy.
Yeah, and General, a lot of songs that even produced outside of Jamaica, you know, just for marketing and promotion and to get response, people put made in Jamaica. Because even Black Hole, a lot of Black Hole songs were made in the Bahamas in Compass Point.
Right.
A lot of Black Hole hit songs, even them Grammy album was mixed and mastered by, you know, in Compass Point, and yet still a lot of people didn't know that. They think it was in Jamaica. So a lot of good music was produced outside of Jamaica, you know. And that's why even today we see a lot of good reggae is produced outside of Jamaica, and people think say yes, it have to be in Jamaica. No, because if you listen to Bob Marley saying, Bob Marley say wherever he go, the music is.
Yeah.
So if him got Germany, and the same music him a play when we that play in Jamaica. So it's all about the music, and you know, technology advance. A man can lick a rhythm for you from Jamaica, and you're right in America, and him send it to you, and you prepare it together with different musicians from all ends of the earth. And you know what I say? So you don't have to be right there in Jamaica right now as we speak to really create a production, you know?
Right. Let me come to Dobby Doo for his input. Dobby Doo.
Well, I'm trying to stay quiet throughout this whole thing, but there's a lot of factors. You know, P brought up some great factors, but she brought up one great thing. Stryker brought that music to UK. When he stepped off that the plane, he brought so much music, not literally with him, but he knew so many people, Slim Smith, King Tubbies, all these people. The thing is, back in Jamaica, they wanted to get their stuff to UK. You know, people looked to Jamaica, but they didn't have no revenue inside their own country a lot of time. They were looking to the UK to get their stuff out there. So, You know, and then the next point, you want to know where it really stopped was when Bob Marley died. That's what really a true Rasta man. Listen, you have Augustus Pablo, you have Bob Marley, you have Yabiyu. When these guys started to pass off, you know, some in the 80s, some in the 90s, some in the 2000s, but that's when it changed, because now you don't have the true heart of the music in the music no more. These guys were like almost monks sometimes. You know, they were in the hills, being with God, spending time with their family, making music. They had no care about what people care about as musicians now, and that's when it died. Right there is when it died. When all those great musicians started passing away, that's when it died. Because nobody else is going to step up to the plate and say, no, man, I won't play certain venues. I won't have people drinking. I won't have nastiness on my stage with me. People don't care. It's anything for $1 now.
Yeah.
You know, they'll call Rastafari name all day long on stage. And when they go behind the stage, look at the things they do. That's why people can't really believe it. They listen to music, but there's no heart in it no more. There's no heart.
Let me come to P.
Can I interject?
Yes,
here,
go ahead.
Right. There's a couple of things that's coming through for me that I think that I need to address. Right. Okay. Firstly, my perspective is the music changed when they started stop using real musicians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It changed because you can sit in your house now, right? If you've got a studio set up in your house, you can sit in your house, make a record, auto-tune it, send it out. Yeah. So the music's was no longer authentic, right? Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, even the British reggae artists, the artists from all over the world, there are artists from all over the world, right, that leave their countries to go to Jamaica to be endorsed. That is happening.
You see, I can't help but say, but you know, Fitzroy had a great point that a lot of people wanted the records to be made in Jamaica. Look at, like, I don't want to say, but there was a famous rapper that recently made a reggae album. He wanted to go to Jamaica to make an album. Did it make a great album? No, it didn't. You can go to Jamaica and think, oh, I'm gonna make a great album because I'll work at these studios and in these places, and it really have to come down to the actual person making the music. Like you say there, P, somebody can make a song on their computer, and if it have heart, it's gonna be a great song. But if they're just trying to make quick rhythms and quick money, it can be a great song, but it's not gonna last long, you know?
Yeah, go ahead, P. Do you have more to say? Yeah.
Yeah. So the death of the dwindling interest in reggae music, right, especially amongst the generation, the younger generation, has primarily been because of the bashment music, as Lady G said. She's so right. That's what killed it. That's when people locked off. No, we don't want to hear this.
Yeah.
We lost a generation of children because of that. So those young people are no longer coming through.
Yeah.
When you look at people like, I'm going to use, for example, Top Cat, right?
Yeah.
Cutty Ranks. I'm just going to name those artists. Yeah, just those two particular artists. They've shifted from reggae. Why? Because number one, they realize that reggae music has no value, and it's never been valued. It's never been given its true value for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
It's only one to few artists that have actually been able to make a career and make any money out of it, right? The labels will not invest in reggae music because it's not going to make them any money. So that is another problem why reggae music is dwindling. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think my last point has to be the move forward in terms of crossover music is now the only way artists see of them being able to get anywhere in what they're doing. Okay?
Yeah.
So those are the points that I wanted to pick up on in what was just said. You know, ultimately, at the end of the day, they're going back to the old rhythm tracks. If you notice, I don't know if anyone's noticed this.
Oh, yes.
But there's a regression now, and they're all going back to the old rhythm tracks and redoing them and bringing them back out again to try and revive it. That's what I see happening, yeah, in reggae music.
I mean, we've made some valid points, and you've made some very, very crucial points. And I keep saying we can talk about all the failures and discrepancies, and where we went wrong. How can we revitalize the industry once again?
You want me to answer that?
I can say something.
Go ahead.
I can say something. Yo, I know a lot of artists out there in this reggae and dub thing who are quietly making a comeback to that old style and to that old mentality and to the heart. There's not many, but I see a couple guys out there, and it's slowly but surely you'll see them. You know, I mean, even Addis Pablo, he's keeping his father's legacy going. It's one thing to people say when they see Addis Pablo doing maybe some more electronic dub stuff, they're gonna go looking for his father. It's just that's what I'm talking about. Those little links that's what's keeping it going. Even like little Striker, Bunny's son, he's always gonna keep it going. You know, he's always gonna keep it going because his father has raised him up in this. You know what I'm saying? So it's time for that young generation to step up now. And there's only a few of them, a handful. I can count them on my hands, literally, maybe my toes too. But they're going to keep it going. And that's who the people are going to look for when they come and they see all these electronic dubs and this and that and electronic reggae. They're going to say, well, where did this come from? And that's when the people like me too. Hey, I never use a computer. When I make my rhythms, it's all me, real instruments. And I don't ever go say, oh, I'm going to use somebody else's rhythm or use a computer. It's got to be heart. You know, like this radio show, what'd you say about it? You're passionate about it, General. You have to have heart in something or else it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you don't put heart into something, then there's no reason to do it. You might as well just stop doing what you're doing because that's what we're living for. Every time a heart beats, that's what it should be for. You should be in the studio. Every second you can if you really love music.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the failures, right, that some of the artists have not recognized, and you know, I'm tired of trying to reiterate this, is that you might be a one-hit wonder, and there's plenty of them out there that have had that one hit where it was taken off and everybody's loved it and whatever, and then they sit down because they think that's enough. It's not enough. You need to be when you have an artist that can go on the stage, right, and entertain people like Brigadier Jerry, like your Freddie McGregor's, you know, the old artists.
Yeah.
They knew what the real, true heart of reggae music was all about. They have hit after hit, catalogs of songs. They know how to reach their audiences. They've done it. They've got it locked.
Well, it's a showman. It's like a showman, like B.B. King here in America. He didn't just give you music.
Yes.
He gave you a show.
But you try and tell these artists, look, they send me a track, and I think to myself, you really want me to promote this? You must be joking. Yeah? If I haven't got a passion for it, who's going to have a passion for it out there?
Yeah.
That's kind of like respect. That's like respect. If you don't give respect, you'll never get it back. If you think I'm so high and mighty that people got to give me respect, you can't. If you can't give a person on the side of the street respect, they're not going to ever give you respect. And that's why people loved Bob Marley, loved Fela, people like that, because they were with the people. Mahatma Gandhi, and anybody, they're with the people. Yeah.
Yeah, and they are artists that when they come to the UK, and this is not a lie, even I think about people like Josie Wells and General Trees, yeah. They're not afraid to go and walk out in the public with everybody else over here because they're not superstars. And some of these artists' mentality gets to me.
Yeah.
They come here as if they are superstars. And I will share this with your listeners and you. One artist, I'm not going to name them, yeah, because it's not professional, right? We were going to book him for a show, and I emailed him, and the email that I got back, I said, you know what, stay where you are, because he wanted one limousine for himself, a sports Jeep for his road manager, and another car, a first class hotel, a drinks, I can't remember what the exact word that was used, right, but actually it was drinks on tap. Specified what drinks it was that had to be on tap. Yeah. And I said, you know what? Stay where you are.
But see, that the thing to me is now, can I say something? I like Bunny Stricker Lee in his film. I saw him on the bus, waiting at the bus stop.
Yeah.
That's a people's people. And that's why that's why people love Bunny Lee, because he will sit and wait for a bus. He doesn't be like, yo, I'm Bunny Lee. I have to be in a limousine.
Yeah.
That's in the heart, the passion in the heart again, you know?
Yeah. You're so right. That is exactly how he is.
No, Bunny Lee, I said. You can go look. I dare anybody out there. Go see I'm the Gorgon DVD. He's waiting on the bus. He's waiting on the bus. That's a humble man. You don't see him in a limousine, in a big first class jet thing. It's humbleness, you know?
If you come to England, and Bunny's here, you can walk up the high road and see Bunny standing up talking to people.
Yep.
Yes, Ozzy will be out there, and Ozzy will be out there and his crew. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Every time.
He's so cool.
That's how Bob was. Bob went around. Bob got his inspiration from staying connected to the grassroots.
Yes, he did. I mean, I remember back in the days when him and Dennis Brown and all of those lot used to play football down in Queen's Park. Couldn't care less.
Right.
Couldn't care less. You know, you used to see Slim Smith, Sly and Robbie, all of those artists walking up and down the high street. It's nothing. Just people hailing up people. But nowadays artists, one artist told me, I'm supposed to stay in a hotel because I'm an artist. Really? You're a human being.
You know what's funny about that, though? Is I was watching a lot of blues, and they said the blues musicians used to just stay with family and friends when they came to town, and that's what a lot of reggae people used to do. I know anytime I get a call from anybody coming into town, they always have a place to stay, and that's how ours was, even back in old school. If you have a friend, and you have a mutual friend, and they say, hey, somebody's in town for a show, they don't got enough money for a hotel, so you set them up at their house for a couple nights or whatever, but you don't get that no more. Now you don't get that.
They don't want it. They don't expect it. You've got to treat them with the red carpet, because if you don't, when they go back, your name's mud.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that brings me to something else. Sorry, Lady G.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That brings me to something else that, you know, the question as I'm talking, right, reminds me of the behavior of the artists. Some of their behavior is outlandish. It's disgraceful. Okay. You know, at the end of the day, they're rude to promoters. They don't take on board, and this is an absolutely key thing. There are a lot of artists that will come to the UK and that are booked to come here and get paid their full money for performing, and they might only have 5-10 people in the venue. Yeah? Yeah. The promoter would have put their heart and soul into promoting that show, you know. And then they go back and they slag off the promoter and say it's because the promoter didn't promote the show properly. Rubbish. Accept that you can't pull people in. Just accept it.
But it comes back to the humbleness again, because like Robert Johnson, I remember them saying sometimes he would get a drink. He would get a quarter, you know, here, there. People don't understand that they did it for the love of it. You know, I'm sorry to keep on saying, but it's the love of music. It's actually having a heart, because sometimes these people never, ever made money in their lifetime, ever. Yeah. Even Fella, he had to go through so much stuff in his lifetime, and then he was arrested for currency defraud, and they put him in for 5 years, and even the judge came and said, I'm sorry, we shouldn't have gave you that. That's wrong. No. You don't do that to people when they don't have no money to begin with. No. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen people's marriages, their houses, everything go. Everything go.
General.
Shows. They've suffered, and the artists don't care.
Fitzroy.
Yes, General. Well, as a road manager. Yeah, hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a response. What I'm saying, we as a road manager, you know, in protocol, because this is the Reggae Biz show where we don't want even people have misunderstanding of what P is saying and what W is saying about, you know, accommodations and what, you know, because, you know, in the business, a rider is supposed to be submitted to a promoter, and the promoter negotiate what he can do and what he cannot do.
The rider.
A lot of artists don't realize that they cannot sell. They cannot even pre-sold 2 tickets. Because sometimes a promoter judge an artist by that to know, say, all right, if you book this artist, how much is pre-sold ticket gonna be? A lot of artists, they can't even sell 2 pre-sold tickets. And if they're, and when them come into the country, they don't want to do radio interviews, they want to stay in the best hotel, as P was saying, which personally I do have nothing if you can sell out the venue and the promoter can make money. Which we today in the industry, as I see, a lot of promoter is investing in artists to give them promotions and highlight them for even at their own loss.
That's right.
I know that, but what about now Augustus Pablo when he's in Japan?
Has somebody got their speaker
No,
on or
well,
something?
Japan is a market where naturally love reggae, because if you bring even...
But the fact that when they got to the show, Augustus was there, Sugar Minot, and a couple other people, and they said, we're not going to do the show unless you bring in some herb. And the promoter looked at him crazy, like, what? What do you mean? He's like, we're not going to go on. This show will not go on until we get some herb in the chalice. So some promoters, you have to understand that some musicians are going to be different. They're going to be different, you know?
You can't.
Not everybody's going to be the same thing.
Well, it's that you can't dictate that to a promoter, but you know...
Exactly. And what promoter in America is going to believe that if you say, hey, I got this crew coming through and they're going to need some herb to play? They're going to be like, what? So you got to be... I understand, like Ozzy Osbourne asking for, or any kind of rock star saying, I want only green M&Ms in a glass, in a wine jar or whatever, what you've heard and stuff. Yeah, come on. You don't need stuff like that, you know? Nobody needs to be big ego.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you know. That's why I have a rider. And if anything is not in the rider that the artist and the promoter agree to, then no artist can dictate to the promoter. Notwithstanding, we as Jamaican artists associated with reggae, Rasta, and herb go together. So your road manager will go to a promoter and say, my artist smoke, you know, you have nothing you can, that is off the record. If the promoter don't want it, you can't. The promoter is not compelled to do it. I
know, but you understand where I'm coming from. Sometimes people have strange requests.
I clearly understand, because I say I'm a road manager.
I know. Well, like Peter Tosh, remember when the Wailers first came to Miami? They said, we're not going to play, we're not even going to rehearse until you bring something. And they actually sat there for hours in Miami until somebody brought them something. And then they started rehearsing. And Peter, Bunny, and Bob, they said they would not do anything.
That is unprofessionalism.
It is.
You know?
It is.
And these are some of the areas that the business after the music, according to reggae, is make reggae declining.
That's correct, Rich.
You know, it's individuals, you know. And trust me, it's when you work with the professionals, like the Flabber Walls and the Santa Davis and the Sly and the Robbie, them, you will be surprised. The Dean Fraser, to see all these brethren are so easy to deal with.
Yeah.
So they have these upcoming artists and superstars. You know?
That is what I find astonishing, you know, to see the level of humbleness coming from, you know, all these foundation artists who have huge amount of catalogs, you know, of mountains of stuff, and they're so humble. And you come across the nowadays artists, and it really is deplorable. Sometimes it makes me want to just, you know what, I've had enough.
Yeah.
You know, that's the point I'm getting to myself. But yet again, I have to ask myself, I've got to ask everyone, how do we revitalize the industry? Because if we cannot talk about how we can revitalize the industry, I'm afraid we're just doing this for fun.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying about the young generation, though. There's some kids out there that are making some great rhythms that you don't know about them. And you'll know about them in time, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't come overnight. And that's how you revitalize the industry. You stop using, you know, your go-to dub plate rhythms. You start making your own rhythms. You start, even if you want to use a computer and auto-tune and all this stuff, make your own rhythms. You want to use a computer, cool, but make sure you're doing your own rhythms. Have pride in it. Have you know, passion in it. And like you said, the show, you should know about your rights. If you're going to do music, you might as well know about your rights, because if you're going to do music, you're just going to get ripped off if you don't know about your rights.
Well, one thing I do know is that there is a huge lack of creativity.
Okay.
All right, General, I want to make a point about that. As a producer, because I come in at this music producing nothing but original songs, even since my era of since my inception as Mightyful 13,
Yeah.
which the mighty in backward in the essence of life.
Right.
But sometimes even rhythm man I say, boy, you come with too much original rhythm, come with something now. Then you recreate a rhythm, which used to be as a piece of the music is in recycle right now. That's from where I don't produce the music, you know.
Yeah.
Because I can't take my hard-earned money to go reproduce people's songs,
Yeah.
to put money in their pocket to make myself and my family poor.
Yeah.
But
So before I do that,
Can
I don't produce music at all.
Go ahead, P.
There?
Go
As
ahead.
an artist,
Hold on.
for an artist,
Yeah.
it will be good for them because the artist can go live off a live show, and can go to dub plate, and can do anything he want and make money off once a promoter release it.
Yeah.
But for a producer, it is very difficult. Very, very difficult. You know, and notwithstanding, the music business right now is in a good stand with good producers and artists, and that's why the radio people them is gonna be the one to set that mark.
No,
But-
they can't
but
do it on their own.
they cannot.
do it on their own.
Type of music and say, all right, we're not gonna. Cause you know the whole business right now is radio, you know, at the ultimate, you know.
Fitzroy,
No.
Fitzroy,
No.
Fitzroy, let me tell you
No.
something that I do know, yeah? I know there are artists who are paying radio stations to not play good music from good artists out there.
Right.
That
I
is
know
going
that.
on. That's
We
a fact.
experience that. Well, I can tell that because Paul will never sing at the Reggae songs yet. And we see people pay money at Jamaica for not playing songs. You know what I mean? I say, and I'm abridging them too. So we are aware of that, but notwithstanding, it don't deter from do original songs and keep making good music because it's like a river, you know, it must find the sea, you know. It must find its course, you know.
It doesn't stop anyone from doing original songs, and I fully endorse that because I'm a big advocate for people doing or for being creative. My thing is, it goes beyond the radio stations. Yes, the radio stations, there's some of them which I would say corrupt, yes, but there's other factors which influence all that. And if we can't talk about all these discrepancies which go on around us, then, you know, again, you know, this thing is for fun.
Well, you know that you want to talk about the inspiration and rejuvenation. Guess where the original reggae songs lay with? God. That's what's the inspiration. God and family and nature and birds. So if people want to rejuvenate reggae, I would suggest to do that. Go back and did what the elders have done. Not just the Rastafarians, but musicians. Every musician in every genre, jazz, blues, anything, they go to their roots. You know what I'm saying? They go back to their families. They go back to, you know, you don't have to live in the city just to be inspired. You can sit and hold a medi in the country or in the city, but the main thing is you have to know God. If you really want to do this reggae thing, that's what it's about. Honestly, there's no other way around it. Reggae was originally a spiritual music. That's it, period.
Yeah, it was a spiritual music, but it was a sufferer's music. It's poor
There you
people
go.
music. Yeah.
So how are you gonna suffer if you sit on your iPhone all day and you have food delivered to you and you don't live in the country and have to put your own food in the ground like me? I came out of the city. I know how to grow my own. We put our own potatoes in the ground. I see my own potatoes come out of the ground, just like my music. I make my own music. I don't have to rely on anybody.
I appreciate that, yeah, and I hear what you're saying, but I think the answer has to be, and why I'm all for recycled music is because I've listened to some young people talking, yeah, and because I do work around young people as well, okay, and it was an interesting conversation that was taking place because I was a little bit surprised to hear them playing what they call revival music, yeah. Revival music being, they go back to the not as far back as the 60s, but as the 70s, 80s and 90s, 2000. And you know what they turned around and said? Oh, this music's really nice. And I thought, why did you say that? So we entered into a discussion, right, about the music and, you know, those eras and what was happening then. And a couple of young people had gone to what they call revival dances and said, wow, I had the best time ever listening to that music. You lot are so laid back and your days must have been absolutely fantastic. And it's different from the music that we listen to now. I really like this track. Oh, listen to a Bob Marley, listen to a Freddie McGregor, listen to a Frankie Park, right? Kind of thing. And tell me what you think. So I was telling them all the different musics that they, you know, the different tracks that they could listen to from different artists. And they were embracing it. And I think the way forward, right, is to recycle the music so that we engage the next generations in it to keep it alive. Because if we don't, we're going to lose it.
And I can't say I agree with that. I personally, I don't like the recycled music. Granted, there are some artists that do it really well out of Britain, like Randy Valentine. I mean, General, I just love him so much.
Oh, so do I. Yeah.
He's an exception, you know what I mean? His attitude is right. He respects the music. He respects where it came from. And General asked a question earlier where he said, how do we revitalize? Where do we go from here? And I think Fitzroy hit it on the head when he said, you know, the business, you know what I mean? Because when Fitzroy mentioned earlier about his opinion is that, you know, with the slang tang rhythm, things started to go downhill. I mean, like I said earlier, there can be many things that we can point to. One of them, I think, is the computer music. I do remember at the time when my brother, I'm speaking of, is Loxley Geechee of the Simrons, who I remember when the computer rhythm started coming out, and he was lamenting about it, saying, oh, the computer rhythm. And being much younger at the time, I remember thinking to myself, man, this must be a really dreaded thing to happen. And so was it done, because it did add to the demise of the industry as well as the music, because the essence of the music was taken away. I agree with all of you earlier when you mentioned that we need to use real musicians in the studio. But along with that era came the change in the attitudes as well. And I love how P mentioned earlier the bashment music, because for a couple days now I've been going on this thing about how I like that from dancehall, because dancehall is not this music that is being played today. If everyone goes back and traces what dancehall is, they'll go back to the original dancehall style, like the Sister Nancy's and the Brigadier Jerry's and the Hika Mouse, and beyond that, actually, you know, it started beyond that. And I think I'd like to adopt that name, P, bashment music, to describe this music today, you know, and that came out of the gun culture and everything else.
I mean, that was the young people, right? And the recycled music was my starting point, right? In relation to how we engage them back into that music, Lady G. So I totally agree and hear what you're saying. However, yeah, there has to be a starting point.
Yeah.
The main players need to be back on board, but there is a problem that needs to be addressed, which is, how do we get us all together in unity and peace round the same table, singing from the same hymn sheet, right, to move forward? We have a problem.
Yep.
This is what I was going to say, is that once we get the word out there that the music must, if you're going to market yourself as an artist, it must involve the business. You know what I mean? And that's why I go back to Fitzroy, what he said earlier. It must involve the business. And once everyone can see that there's enough for everybody to go around, this isn't a free-for-all. This isn't the days of payola when you had to pay the radio station to play your music, and you had to, it was every man for themselves. I'm not saying that still doesn't happen, but my vision is that everyone can see, look, market yourself as a professional. There's enough to go around, because if I sign this contract here, and if I do like Fitzroy Francis of Mighty 413 does as a road manager, and he he deals with the manager deals with the promoter and the escrow account and the this and the that and all the things that we've discussed on this show that an artist ought to be doing. I think that will make a change. That's just my opinion. Oh, and by the way, I want to bless up the people that are commenting in the chat room and welcome our friend Maxine Tomlinson, and I think a couple of people had questions, but anyway, continue, General.
Yes. I mean, a little while ago, like how we're talking about bashment, I always saw bashment, you know, well, and when we talk about dancehall, this derogatory dancehall music, I recently put a little video clip of a bashment party which was happening somewhere in Jamaica, and what had happened is they had encouraged these young girls to strip down to the bare skin. And when you see something like that, that is a huge hindrance. You have to remember that social media sites and things like YouTube, this is going out to the entire world, and it's making me think to myself, is this what our music has come to? Now, yet we also have to remember dancehall, whatever you want to call it, is being attached to reggae music. Now, a little while ago, I was making a case for dancehall, this derogatory slackness dancehall, to be removed from reggae music. My question to everyone is, how feasible would something like that be? To have dancehall, slackness dancehall, be removed from reggae music?
We've got to separate it, General. We've got to stop. Number one, we've got to stop calling it dancehall. It's not dancehall. It's not dancehall. I want to get that word out there. It is not dancehall. Look at what original dancehall is. That stuff is. The other day, you know, chatting, and I said, "Gee, those dances are just pure orgies now." It's not even. I mean, come on. Oh man, don't get me started.
How feasible is it? How feasible? That's what I want to know. How feasible is this? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to bring the attention of that. Remember the conspiracy theory. There was a conspiracy theory against reggae because they all see what reggae can do and what reggae has done via Bob Marley, Brian Spear, all the greats them, both spiritually, morally, you know, entertaining people. And I think the drug culture, the cocaine culture in the mid-80s is what created most of this decline today, because the moral of the youth them change.
True.
You know, because I remember reggae was about Rastafari, Africa, repatriation. You know, which then the whole dancehall culture, which lyrical matter, but not the music, it's about bling bling, gun, girls, sexual explicit, rhetoric, you know, and from that we can't come cope our group with that. We see where the reggae uprise via Chronics, Kibaka Pyramid, Jesse Royal, Iba Mar, Jabooks, etc. And yet see, look what's going on in Jamaica today. We still see Vice Cartel is promoted as the best artist in Jamaica even while we speak.
Yeah.
So I think it's imperative. It is imperative to have a unified reggae industry. And I say this without no hard feelings. The unity will come between, like how we have the Reggae Biz show, and people of the same mind and thinking can come together in dialogues and doing what we are doing. Because there are a lot of people who still not gonna like what we are doing. So then they are not gonna unite with us, and we not gonna unite with them.
Right.
Can I say this? Yeah.
Go ahead, P.
Right. Particularly in Britain, bashment is dying out. Right. The reason why I say this, if you try and book a venue now and to keep a bashment event in, you're not getting it. The police block it straight away.
Amen.
All right. So that is actually happening on the ground already.
I have a little issue with that, though.
What is that?
Because the police have always been prejudiced against certain functions
Reggae.
and noise abatement and using those excuses, and they closed down a whole bunch of you know, activity centers where the youth can go and stuff like that. And it's just a permeation, it's just a continuation of the abuses that they're allowed to use in Britain. Because, you know, if that was here, they couldn't differentiate between the type of music. They can only go by decibel noise. They can't go by, oh, it's a reggae event or whatever they want to call it. You know what I'm saying? They can't, oh, we can't have that here. That's racist.
No, but we need to watch something, and I think that we're missing something here. Yeah, watch what's happening, right?
I was gonna come to that, but go ahead, P.
Yeah, watch what's happening. What's happening is you're having a bashment event. They catch the flyer. Yeah, they know what's a bashment event from a revival or a reggae event. They know, okay, because obviously they've got their informants. They know they're not clueless anymore. And then if you notice, a lot of the reggae events now are not being held at any venue. So, for example, a lot of people didn't know that Sly and Robbie was in the country. Yeah? Why? Because where they put that event on is not where we Caribbean people would normally expect it to be. They put it up the West End. I think it was Bloomsbury, somewhere like that.
Right.
Right? When Jimmy Cliff comes here, look at the venues that they put them in. When Freddie came here the other day, look where they put the event on. When Marcia come here the other day, look where they put the event on. Look at what is happening. The O2s, Hammersmith, whatever.
Yeah.
The Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
Chronix was here the other day. Was he at Brixton Academy? No. So that's the things that you need to look at to see how bashment, right, technically is being filtered out. It really is. And you're not hearing about bashment dance. And if they're happening, they're not happening legally, right? And 99.9% of the time, there is a problem, so the police find out.
Yep.
Very interesting points being made here, and to a certain degree, that really does make me kind of happy to a degree, only because you only have to see the kind of behavior that it seems to influence.
Yes.
So to a very huge and large degree, when I hear some of these events are being shut down, you know, my mind says to me, rightly so. How many people have we lost to some of these bashment dances? We can no longer go fooling ourselves into thinking that, you know, there isn't a problem with this derogatory dancehall music, and we have to differentiate the difference when we're talking about dancehall, because now everything is intertwined. Original dancehall, I'm not talking about that from the days of Brigadier Jerry and all those people. I'm talking about the derogatory, where the people are talking about Underwoman frock and all them things, that explicit dancehall music which encourages a certain
That's why
behavior.
I call it bashment, because that is the name.
It's a different name. It's not dancehall. We need to stop associating dancehall with that, because that is not dancehall.
And I guess that's where we need to start with the re-education process. I think that starts with the radio stations, starting to redefine. I think it was Lady General or somebody said redefine. We have to redefine these words that we use on the radio stations. We really do, and I think we have to be at one with that. Like P said, we need to unify. My question again: how do we unify when we're so separated? We have to re-educate each and every one of us. We have to stop looking at each other as enemies.
But you said it in a nutshell. This is this is one of the starting points. The fact that we're actually having this conversation, on the radio with listeners. The Reggae Fraternity UK, wonderful organization. there is an avenue there.
Yeah.
In order for us to be able to facilitate all of this.
Yeah.
Right? There are other organizations that we need to bring together. I mean, I've had a discussion. Why are we doing, everybody, as you said, doing things in isolation? No. Those who are willing, because it has to be a willingness, to come together as a unit, right, to make the changes that need to happen, it needs to start with those change agents.
Yeah.
Yeah? It really does. What also needs to happen, and I've spoken to one other person so far, and someone said something to me. We can make the difference in England in terms of music, our music.
Yeah.
By, if you put £10 and I put £10 and that person put £10 and that person put £10, we can develop our own business.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can knock at the right doors, and we can do it, because believe you me, I'm not afraid, and I'm going to use it like, I'm going to put it in like this.
Yeah.
Of kicking down a few doors to make the change that needs to happen.
Yeah.
But it's how many people are willing to do that with me there?
Yeah.
And I'm only one person, so one person can't make the change.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy to say we finally have Chris Hills back. Chris.
I'm here. I don't know how for long. No, because Skype's going in and out. The internet's going in and out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'm being hit.
All right. Well, we got you back, and thanks a lot. I was saying earlier, just as we started, that we have you to thank for introducing P. Stephenson onto the group, this show today.
I'm glad P came on.
Yeah.
I've been listening. I've been grabbing bits of it when the internet's come back. So it's only now Skype's come on. So
okay, brilliant. P, I want to thank you for appearing on the show. Before we round this up, because I really must round it up because of the school run and getting my daughter ready.
Before you do that, General, sorry to interject on this.
Yeah.
There's just one thing I want to say, right, which we've missed, because I wanted to pick up on something Fitzroy had said.
Right.
Yeah. Fitzroy and all of you, I have to say this. It's not just down to the radio DJs. PR is absolutely key. Yeah. So if an artist is not properly promoted and their music is not playing in the dance halls and it's not being played on the radio station, they're not worthy of being booked, because nobody knows them.
Yeah.
So PR people have an absolutely key, right, role in making an artist successful. Absolutely key. And that is where some of my strengths lay.
Right.
All right?
Yeah. I want you to give people some information, because we have various people who are listening on the outside and would love to be linked with yourself and approach you, and so that they can follow you and see what you're doing. Give people information as to how they can reach out to you.
Right. I'm on Facebook as P.E.E. Stephenson. I have a page that says Magnetic Energy Promotions that I do a lot of promoting on. I'm also on Google Plus. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. You name all the social media sites, I'm there. Okay.
Yeah.
My contact details, my email address, my telephone number is on my page as well, so people need to get hold of me. Yeah. And yeah, that's it really. And obviously, General, you know me now, and Chris knows how to contact me. So there you go.
When you're looking for artists, just before we round this up, when you're looking for artists, what are the key things that you look out for before you even say, okay, let's do some business?
The key thing that we look out for is how active are they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are people really following them? How much promotion is being done around them? Do they have a catalogue of music? Right? Is the music relevant? Is it what people want to hear on the radio stations over here? Or are we hearing them in the dance halls? Yeah. If we're not seeing that, they're not going to get booked.
Right. Brilliant.
You generally know an artist that will draw a crowd.
Right.
And the thing to say is you may be popular in US, you may be popular in Jamaica, but it don't mean you're popular in the UK.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep, most definitely.
Yeah.
Fitzroy, you want to make a point?
Okay. Well, you should just clarify, because I don't want to reiterate what I said about radio, because sometimes there's a lot of artists who get a lot of promotions but they can't go on the circuit, go tour,
Yeah.
But as I should say, England is different. I've never been to England or on tour yet. I just been to England and few festivals, which it's a capacity is there, so
yeah.
It's not about you alone as an artist, but I know in the United States of America, if you don't have a proper album, good message, with PR too, and radio play, because I know artists don't even get playing the dance hall, but them still can go tour and draw a crowd.
Yeah.
Because the type of music that them profess.
Yeah.
Which, the dance halls are different level of musicianship, but as I say, for Europe, I know it's kind of the same way a good album. Because you have artists who are tour the world right now where him them get airplane Jamaica.
Yeah.
Him them get an airplane Jamaica, but if you bring him out there, trust me, he would fill up the venue more than a lot of artists, even name that is calling every day. Because it's all about a hype, But people who want to come and spend them hard earned money to get good quality music, they know what they want, and the promoter, they know too.
Well, I think, we all have a duty of care to be honest with the artist. I think there's a lot of skirting around with the artist. There's some people who are afraid to tell the artists, the truth about what they're hearing. And I think you can only do the artist a good service by telling them the truth. That is one thing that I have always adopted, but one thing that I, as a radio station owner and presenter, I'm fed up of seeing is an attitude whereby you expect me to play it, whether it's bad or good. You cannot force me or tell me that I must play a particular track. There has to be a certain approach and decorum, respect for
There
each
has to
other.
be a standard kept.
There has to be a standard. I cannot.
And that whole PR thing, General, is also about PR working with the radio stations and the radio stations working with the PR people. Yeah, it's key. When you have that relationship, you can move mountains.
Exactly. And I think it's more of the artists pushing their own thing, but a lot of, not all of them, but there's a few of them who come with the wrong attitude,
Well, a lot of them don't even want to pay for PR. They don't think they need it. They're big enough.
Oh, Lord. A lot needs to be done. One of the things that I'm doing, I'm taking affirmative action. I'm actually shutting down my Stockade Radio Reggae General Culture page. That's going to be shut down by Friday. Okay, that's no longer going to exist. For anybody who wants to get hold of me, you're going to have to add me to my like page, which is Stockade Radio General Culture. You'll find me there. As from Friday, I will no longer be on my Stockade Radio Reggae General Culture page. Okay, my familiar page that you normally catch me on. That is going to cease to exist. And I'm trying
to share why.
I'm trying to encourage myself. Every day I wake up lately, I'm saying to myself, you know what? I've had enough. I get frustrated. Everybody's fighting each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really doing my head in. I need that peace of mind where I can work freely. And I'm not getting that at the moment.
Okay.
I have to big up my brethren Moses out there. He might be listening. He never used Facebook. He say, if I'm working, I don't have my Facebook on. He say, I cut that off. He say, if I want to contact my family, I'll turn to this and that. He say, Facebook is nothing but a hindrance when you're really trying to work.
Oh my God, it's the biggest hindrance. I used to think it was the best way to promote. It is.
As scientists, when we started talking about the fake King Tubbies, we were ridiculed. People hated me and him. They started saying, "Scientists, why are you talking about tubbies and this and that? You act like you mix everything. When you tell the truth, people don't want to hear it. And on Facebook, people don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear what they want to hear. They want to hear what they want to see. And so, if you don't have a good thing to say or the truth, yeah."
General, I have another show for you.
Yeah.
Which is to look at sexism in the industry.
You need to come back on our show.
Yes, because women are really sidelined in this music business,
it's true.
in reggae business.
Yeah.
Well, we don't really have a voice.
Well,
I would love to get. The one thing is, I'd like to see. You know what we don't have is another good trio, a harmony group with females and males included. You don't see that anymore. It's one thing I've been telling myself for a long time. What's the last time you've seen a really good trio? If they are, they've been established for a while. But you don't see those good trios of a couple male voices and a couple female voices. You just don't see it.
Yeah, it's like that with the artists. It's like that with people like myself as a promoter. Yeah. It is like that with the DJ, some of the DJs and female DJs. It's like we're empty heads. We don't know anything about the business. We don't understand it. How could we possibly understand it? We're women.
Yeah.
And we're the best.
You know, one thing that I have been encouraged by is the professional behavior of females in the industry, and I've been saying that quite a bit, from the way they handle their business right down to the way they perform on their songs. Everything about, you know, a lot of female artists have really impressed me.
Well, if you're a female artist, you should look at the I3s, because all of them have had solo careers, and that's how any empress in reggae or any woman in reggae should handle themselves. You treat yourself with respect. You don't show clothes and you don't show, you know, short thing and this and that. If you have respect for yourself, man, that's when people really love you. That's why people love the I3s to this day, Marcia and Rita.
Yeah, but I don't put it down to a respect thing, right? It's a male thing in the industry. I see all the time. You know, you're negotiating the artist fees, or you're saying to a promoter, well, I'm sorry, right, but the artist has to be paid before listen, right, you can't come tell me not. And you know, that kind of attitude, like they dismiss you. It's not nice.
Yeah. That probably happens more in the UK as well.
Yes, it does.
And you know, I remember having a conversation with Shay Mill, and she was going through a lot of sexism, you know, in the industry, when, you know, she was an engineer and they didn't believe that she could engineer a particular tune. And she said, yes, I'm qualified to engineer. I can do this, you know. But they just didn't have any faith in her, you know. I'm going to extend a hand of invitation to P to come onto our show in 2 weeks' time on a Sunday. How feasible is that?
Okay.
and as a matter of fact,
hold on. What's the date? What's the date?
Let's see.
It'll be the first.
Will that be the first? No, it wouldn't.
I'm sorry, I can't. That's Lukey D's show. I can't do
first,
it.
yes, it is. Okay, you won't be able to. Okay, no problem. Okay, but we'd love to have you back at some point. Yeah?
Yep.
General.
Go ahead, Fitzroy.
Yeah, man, I want to make a point about the female, because right now, personally, I feel kind of more positive even as I speak today, say the emerging of the females in the industry. We know them treatment, the mistreatment that they go through, but I am really proud, you know, because we can see it's evident that a lot of females have rise more today.
Yeah.
And if the female them just keep them head above the water and keep the business of the music more instead of the fame of the music, I think they can be much as effective.
I have to clap you for that,
today.
Yeah.
Because 2013, I dedicate all that year.
Yeah.
14 at least as international female years for My The Full 13. I put out all the female artists. You know, I say, you know, China Nicole was one of my artists, and I say she take up her button and she keep pushing and pushing and pushing with the sugar, you know, and I'm proud of the art, the female today. I must say that, you know, and I just want the rest of the female, you know, keep pushing, you know, just keep pushing.
I think
and
when
put
we
the
talk
business in front, put the business of music in front.
Amen.
I
agree.
think we can open a whole new can of worms when we talk about sexism in the industry, and I think it does need to be spoken about. I think we need to have a proper discussion about it on our next show. But I must end the show today. I must end the show because of the school run and my daughter. So I want to thank P for coming on to the show, and I'm hoping that in the future we can do more shows with yourself as part of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I big up all the listeners, Lady G, Fitzroy, everybody else that's on the panel. Much love and blessings, and General and Chris, thank you.
You're
It was
so
a pleasure, P.
Yeah, thank you, Pete.
Much pleasure, enough respect.
Respect.
As me say.
I want to come to everybody individually. As per usual, we give everybody the opportunity to say their last few words. So I'm going to start in order of how I can see everybody on my Skype. I'm going to come to P. Say your last few words.
Me?
Yes.
I'd love and blessings. Thank you very much, people. And I look forward to being back on the show. And it's been a great time. I've enjoyed it.
Okay. Fitzroy.
Well, General, I must always thank you ultimately, and Lady G and the panel, those are Roddy Campbell, scientists, Chris, and all the listeners, and, all the network that bring the show. And it's always my pleasure to share my part. And, it's a pleasure having P today, mind opening. And, I'm very thankful to represent the music, the reggae business.
Thank you so much, Fitzroy. Lady General.
Yes, it was a pleasure having P. Stephenson on the show, Miss Magnetic. Do check her out on Facebook. This is the Reggae Business Talk Show, and we're missing Roddy and Scientist. Scientist had to go off somewhere. Roddy has some other commitments to take care of, but as usual, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. And thanks to everyone for tuning in, and all of those that came into the chat room, all of those on the outside as well, and all the Facebook crew. Bless up.
Thank you so much. Dobby-doo.
Yeah. Again, and thank you to you, General, and thank you, P. And have a great Sunday, and keep the faith. And God bless.
Thank you, Dobby-doo. And I, myself, I'm thankful for the entire panel. I'm also got to bless up Roddy Campbell. Hopefully soon he'll be able to join us back. And I've also got to bless up the scientist for his input. Even though he's going to an important function, he found the time to still interact with us. So thanks to the scientist. Also, I want to thank the entire panel that contributed today. Dobby-doo, Fitzroy Francis, Lady General, and P. Stephenson from Magnetic Promotions. And thank you guys so much. We couldn't have done it without you. God bless each and every one of you, and we're going to get out of here. One love. Okay. Yes, ladies and gents, I'm out of here. We've had fun. All right. So I'm going to leave you with a production from the scientists, the Intergalactic Vampires.
The scientist rids the world of the intergalactic vampires killers. Genius scientist.
Also, big thanks goes to Christopher Hills, who was having some internet problems.
Invention. The hybrid plant.
God bless you.
Planet
We're out of here till
Ollie Green
2 weeks' time.
Makes everyone who partakes of it filled with love. A folder labeled Top Secret SOS races down a pipe, dropping on the table. For years, the intergalactic vampire has been injecting drugs into the hearts of innocent people. Standing in the way of this evil vampire is a single brave soul, the scientist. The scientist brings nothing more to the table than a love of mankind and a talent for reggae beats. But these tools are more deadly than they appear. Some may say that mere humans cannot possibly defeat intergalactic vampires, but with a little creativity and a lot of hard work, the dream that the scientist rids the world of evil just might come true. This adventure is explored in the Scientist Reggae album, a music collection containing a story like no other. In the Scientist album, listeners learn of such evil creatures as the intergalactic vampire witch, the intergalactic wolf and intergalactic Frankenstein. These terrifying creatures are awful intergalactic vampires. It is up to the scientist to use its musical powers to make the world safe once more. Fortunately, this is not a mission that the scientist needs to take all on his own. Along the way, he will be able to snatch up several crewmates, each with their own unique power. First there's Flabba Holt, the chief of low-frequency shockwave. His hard-hitting bass guitar serves as an effective weapon against evil. Michigan and Smiley have plenty to add with their stores of knowledge surrounding biological warfare that hit them with diseases. They are often joined by Bunny Whaler, the expert on psychological warfare. The scientist also frequently teams up with Style Scott, a top-notch intergalactic vampire killer. Josie Whale serves as the radar jammer, taking his DJ skills to the next level.
Stockade Radio to the universe! You're listening to the People's Station. Stockade Radio, a division of Stockade Promotions. To the universe! A proud member station of the Conscious Partners Network.